بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اليوم إن شاء الله هنتحدث عن الليج في هذه المنطقة. الليج is the area that extends from the popliteal fossa to the ankle and the foot. It divided into three compartments by the three intermuscular septum and tibia, fibula, and also by the interosseous membrane. The compartments that are divided are the anterior compartment and the lateral compartment and the posterior compartment. There is no muscles onto the medial compartment, so the medial side is subcutaneous at this region. Today I'm going to talk about the posterior compartment. The posterior compartment is divided by a deep transverse fascia into superficial muscles, which is composed of the calf muscle and to the deep muscles that correspond to the anterior muscles. First, I'm going to talk about the superficial group of the posterior compartment of the leg. The most superficial muscle is the gastrocnemius muscle, which is this muscle. As we can see, there is a small falciform muscle with a long tendon, which is called a plantaris muscle, and finally there is a soleus muscle. Now I'm going to talk about the arterial and the nerve supply for the posterior compartment of the leg. The main supply for the posterior compartment, the arterial supply for the posterior compartment is coming from the posterior tibial artery, which is a branch from the popliteal artery after it passes from the popliteus muscle down, and it continues until it reaches to the tarsal tunnel at this region. The nerve supply for this compartment is coming from the tibial nerve. The tibial nerve, which is a branch from the sciatic nerve after it passes also from the popliteus muscle and found also into the tarsal tunnel at this area. If we talk about the general action for this compartment, it acts as a plantar flexor for the foot. This is the main function for these muscles, and it also assists by maintaining the arches of the foot, the medial and lateral longitudinal arch, and the transverse arch of the foot. It may assist also in the inversion of the foot by the muscle, which I'm going to talk about it into the posterior, into the deep side of this posterior compartment. Now, if we put this again, to see the orientation of the muscles that is found. If we can see this, we can see that the most superficial muscle is the gastrocnemius muscle. The gastrocnemius muscle, which is composed, it's mainly responsible for the calf shape of the leg. It has two heads, as we can see here, the medial and the lateral head. These two heads originate from the lateral and medial and lateral condyles of the femur, and is inserted by a common tendon for this muscle and also for the soleus muscle into the posterior aspect of the calcaneum. This tendon, as we can see here, called tendon of Achilles or Achilles tendon or tendocalcaneum. The next muscle for this superficial layer of the posterior compartment is the plantaris muscle. As we can see from this, the plantaris muscle is a small falciform muscle originated from the lateral head of the femur, have a long tendon that is inserted just medially to the tendon Achilles. This muscle is assist into the plantar flexion of the foot and also assist into the plantar flexion into the flexion of the leg. This muscle, the tendon of this muscle, can use into the autograft of the tendon, and also it with the gastrocnemius have a biarticular muscle. It's considered to be a biarticular muscle that is act onto the two joints. The third muscle into the superficial group is the soleus muscle, which is an inverted V-shaped muscle. It's an inverted V-shaped muscle. It's a broad and large muscle that inserted, as I said, into the tendocalcaneus, on the posterior aspect, originated from the fibula, as we can see here. By this, we end the superficial layer of the posterior compartment of the leg. Now I'm going to talk about the deep muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. As I said before, the innervation for the posterior compartment as a whole comes from the tibial nerve as a nerve supply and the posterior tibial artery as an arterial supply. There is four muscles at this layer: the popliteus muscle, the posterior tibialis, and the flexor digitorum longus and the flexor hallucis longus. First, the popliteus muscle. This muscle is originated from the lateral condyle of the femur and is inserted into the posterior aspect of the tibia above the soleal line. Then, the tibialis posterior muscle. This muscle is correspond to the tibialis anterior muscle that found into the anterior compartment of the leg. This muscle is originated from the posterior surface of the shaft of the tibia and interosseous and the fibular posterior aspect of the fibula, and is inserted into the first part of the metatarsal bone, at the base of the first metatarsal bone. The second muscle is the flexor hallucis longus. This muscle is correspond to the extensor hallucis longus that found in the anterior compartment. It's originated from the fibula, as we can see from this, and is inserted into the base of the distal phalanx of the big toe at this region here. The fourth muscle is the flexor digitorum longus. This muscle is corresponding to the extensor digitorum longus that is inserted into the posterior aspect of these toes. These called a little toes or the lateral toes. It's inserted into the distal, into the base of the distal phalanx of these toes. It's split into 4 tendons, as we can see here, and inserted into the area I said before. If we talk about the action for these muscles, the first, the popliteus muscle. This muscle is an important muscle for the unlock of the key when you are standing up from an extended. If you want to stand up or sit, your knee is going to be lock or unlock. This muscle unlock the knee and also assist into the flexion of the leg onto the knee joint. The second muscle is the popliteus muscle. This muscle is also plantar flexor for the foot, but it's also assist into the inversion of the foot. Flexor hallucis longus, a plantar flexor of the foot, but the main function is to flex the big toe. The flexor digitorum longus, plantar flexor of the foot, and also flex the toes backward. And by this video is gonna be finished by this posterior compartment of the leg, and so thank you.